Welcome to all the Taurus rising signs of the zodiac to your horoscope for the month of December 2025. Here we are. It is the end of a very dynamic year, and it's going to keep on rolling out the dynamism through the lens of astrology, at least, bleeding into 2026. I'm your cosmic girl. Trust you're doing well, and thank you for joining me here. So, we're going to talk about planets in transits in a chronological order, but I like to open up the video for all rising signs discussing the transit of their planetary ruler. And for you, we're going to talk about now Venus's transit in Sagittarius, opening up the month of December. So it hasn't been too long for Venus being in Sagittarius. She only ingressed into Sagittarius on the 30th of November. So Venus in Sagittarius is a dynamic transit. Your chart rule of Venus in Sagittarius is seeking out value and connection through others' resources, how others can help advance you, and how others can capitalize on their own resources. Think you and your partner's resources, uh, people that have a financial interest with you. How are they helping you advance and explore diversity and variety through different ideas on how to grow your nest egg or grow the nest egg together with you? That's what Venus is doing in Sagittarius in your natal 8th house. So, whilst this is quite uplifting for Venus to be in Sagittarius for you as a Taurus rising sign, it can feel like a lot of going the extra distance. Think overscheduling yourself, being too focused on bringing in the money, too focused on how people can advance you. So, the archetypal transit of this is delicate. We don't want to push for something that we end up with burnout with Venus and Sagittarius, because she gets very convoluted with options and different varieties around her to benefit from. So we want to keep it as singular as we can when Venus is in Sagittarius in your 8th house of others, resources, death, transformation, and inheritance. So it can be quite nuanced with Venus in the 8th house. However, we also have other planets in Sagittarius as well. The sun is in Sagittarius. The sun likes being in Sagittarius. So does Mars. So we've got a little stellium going on here in your natal 8th house. That's 3 or more planets, and that, through the lens of astrology, will tell me as an astrologer, ooh, Taurus rising signs, their natal 8th house is getting a lot of focus and attention. And Mercury on the 11th will be joining back into Sagittarius as well. And Mercury, unfortunately, has a lot of trouble in Sagittarius. There'll also be a new moon in Sagittarius this month. So that's a lot of congestion and a lot of focus. And being your chart rule of Venus, in there, in amongst all of the energies of the sun, Mars, new moon, Mercury, it becomes a lot. It becomes quite a lot, very, very dynamic and amplified. And so knowing that ahead of time gives you an opportunity to go, oh, I just need to take my time, need to pick my lanes, need to streamline, be very focused and very structured, and not lose myself in the sauce and the juice regarding overextending oneself with Venus in Sagittarius with all these other planets. But you're the expert in you. Maybe you like the heat. Maybe you like to have lots of stimulation and variety all the time. And the planets in transits are certainly going to respond in kind to your needs if that's your kind of jam. But if you find it a little bit overwhelming with too much stimulation, then learn to say no, know your boundaries, know your limits, especially when it comes to others' resources and trying to extend yourself more for them or extend yourself more to capitalize from other people's resources. Think over exhaustion. I'm working too hard, I'm reaching for the stars way too much, that I end up with burnout. So we don't want to do that with Venus in Sagittarius with all these other planets co-present. So just some friendly human advice with this transit with your chart ruler Venus in the natal 8th house, opening up the month of December. Okay, so now we're going to get into the planets in transits for our last calendar month of 2025. Okay, speaking of finances and financial interests, on the 5th, we are having our first lunation of December, and it is a full moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. And this is lighting up your natal second house of values and finance, your assets, your possessions, and your livelihood. So, with a full moon in Gemini, you get to see where you're overstretching yourself and where you need to rein it in regarding too many fingers in too many intellectual pies regarding your finances, your livelihood, and your assets and possessions. So it can be quite a sobering full moon on the 5th of December. The next day on the 6th, we have a grand water trine. These grand water trines have been happening in succession for well over a month now. But these groundwater trines have been happening in your social houses. This is where you knock shoulders with people of your own free will, your friends, groups and organizations, relationships, and your immediate environments, your backyard. So with the groundwater trines swimming around us all here on terra firma on the 6th for you, I'm getting it's really easy for the Taurus rising signs to see how they're being lured out of agency, and you might be feeling a little bit extra tender in wanting to cut things down and say no. That might be a little bit hard, especially when you have to say no to social connections and groups and people that you actually really do want to hang with on the 6th of the month. On the 8th, we are having an extremely interesting day. Mars in Sagittarius in your 8th house is squaring off with Saturn in Pisces in your 11th house. So it's other people's resources where you have an interest is coming up against a problem regarding social commitments, plans. Think, oh, do I or don't I kind of day. So watch for overextension, feeling the urge to go a little bit further than you may feel comfortable with regarding resources and your social expectations on the 8th of December. On the 11th, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces, your 11th house at 29 degrees. And we now have Mercury joining into the Sagittarius party as well, your 8th house, until the 1st of January 2026. Okay, so this is things are getting real, if you will, from the 11th of December. So first of all, let's talk about Neptune. Neptune going direct in your 11th house, really good for seeing who's fair weather and who's actually going to go the distance with me regarding my social settings and connections and my friends and my goals. So you're sort of like becoming really aware what's a dream, what's a pipe dream, and what's reality. What can I really do with these connections in my life that I engage with? It's that kind of thing with Neptune going direct now in your 11th house of allies, benefactors, friends, groups, organizations, dreams, and goals. Now, let's talk about Mercury ingressing into Sagittarius. So, Mercury's going back into Sagittarius, into your natal 8th house from the 11th until the 1st of January 2026. This is interesting. Mercury's in detriment in Sagittarius. Mercury overextends himself, spends too much, travels too much, talks too much, thinks too much in Sagittarius. And it's all to do with your natal 8th house of other people's resources, death, transformation, and inheritance. So Mercury can really stir up the mind, make us feel like we need to overcompensate, over embellish. So forewarned is forearmed with Mercury in the natal 8th house. Think I am wearing myself thin financially, with travel, with communication, and my mind. So needing to slow down, needing to take a breath when you need to. From the 11th of December to the 1st of January is well advised. but it may feel like an absolute whirlwind with Mercury back in Sagittarius. This can bring doubt to other people's resources. Oh, do they have the goods? Is this the right connection? Mercury can have us thinking quite negatively when he's in Sagittarius. So heads up there, Taurus rising signs. On the 15th, we have Mars leave your natal eighth house. So the stellium is in your eighth house is slowly going to dissipate, and all those planets are now from the 15th of December bleeding into January are going to be moving into your natal ninth house of Capricorn. That's the house of travel, foreigners, foreign places, the house of higher education, think universities, and it's the house of our beliefs and our values, and it's the house of philosophy. It's the house where we explore physically, mentally, spiritually, and with our soul. So, Mars on the 15th until the 23rd of January 2026 is well positioned, exalted in Capricorn in your natal ninth house. Mars gets shit done, really. So, if you do have your eye on the prize regarding the natal ninth house of growth and expansion, then Mars will help you get to your target quite organically. So, think I'm going to roll up my sleeves and get a job done. I'm going to make this happen regarding travel, higher education, dealing with foreigners and foreign places, and your philosophy and your values and moral and ethical compass is going to be easily translated from the self and expressed to the outside world. Mars in Capricorn has a nose for lofty ambitions and can execute them well when he's in Capricorn. So, Mars in Capricorn is a fortuitous transit for all of us, but in your natal ninth house, you will be a little bit more willful to express your desires and wanting to expand on that through experience and life experience and growth with Mars in Capricorn from the 15th of December to the 23rd of January. On the 20th, we are having our second lunation of December, and it is a new moon in Sagittarius, yes, in your natal eighth house at 28 degrees. Yeah, time to do something, time to go, time to grow, kind of new moons. So, over the next 6 months, there's a development with you and a significant person that has a financial interest with you regarding growth and moving out into the world. Think planning for travel, uh, building a nest egg together, going into an investment opportunity together. Something's ripe here to blossom over the next 6 months with you and other, or with a significant person that can advance you in a practical financial capacity with a new moon in Sagittarius on the 20th. Really quite lovely. Solstice time on the 21st, where the sun is still in the sky. So now we have the sun leaving your natal eighth house of Sagittarius, and it's joining Mars in Capricorn, your ninth house, for 4 weeks. Wow. Okay. So this natal ninth house is heading up. It's becoming super focused now with the sun here. The sun in Capricorn is reaching for the stars, literally. What the sun wants is some stability, a strong foundation, something that has substance. And in your ninth house of travel, foreigners, foreign places, education, philosophy, your moral and ethical compass, your beliefs and your values, the sun really brings the heat to the natal ninth house, where Mars is also transiting in its exaltation zodiac sign of Capricorn. So the drive for movement is going to be a little bit extra, if you will, and extra ambitious in getting your heart's desire met from the 21st of December to the 21st of January. Things are getting very interesting for the Taurus rising signs. But do you have the belief that you can go the distance? This is what these planets will be bringing to you regarding questioning. Can you really do it? Can you really go there? And I think it's got a lot to do with finances and other people's resources and your capacity to reach your lofty ambitions. Okay, Taurus rising signs, here we are on the 24th of January. We now have your chart ruler Venus moving into the natal ninth house, with Mars and the Sun. So Venus, your chart ruler, is now in Capricorn from the 24th of December to the 17th of January 2026. Chart ruler Venus in Capricorn is seeking commitment, something solid, something stable, and almost predictable like. Venus is seeking out unity that has the gravitas and the eye for longevity. I just lost my words then, sorry. So with Venus and Capricorn, you want what you want, okay? And in your standards are almost elevated in Capricorn when it comes to travel, higher education, foreigners, foreign places, your beliefs, your values, your moral and ethical compass is going to be easily translated. But your standards in Capricorn are elevated. So you're not seeking anything fair weather, you're seeking something very solid and predictable. I want a commitment regarding travel. I want a commitment when it comes to my philosophy. I want a commitment when it comes to education. I want a commitment with my foreign interactions and working with different people, places, and things. I want a commitment. So with your chart ruler Venus from the 24th of December to the 17th of January 2026, you're not interested in bullshit. You want something very solid and concrete. You're aiming for the sky and you will not be suffering fools or letting your dreams go. It's that kind of transit when Venus is in Capricorn. Enjoy. So that's your astrology for the month of December. Trust you have a fabulous one. You chart ruler Venus in Capricorn. Whew, that's quite powerful, Taurus rising signs. And after the 17th of January 2026, Venus is going into Aquarius right at the top of your natal chart, your natal 10th house. That's your house of career, ambition, authority, your professional industry, your sense of identity in the public. So from December bleeding into January, you're fueling yourself up with belief and you're setting the bar high. And when chart ruler Venus goes into the natal 10th house, there's going to be no questions about Taurus rising signs' agenda and their ambitions and how they want to be seen in the public or even known in the public eye. Big astrology for the Taurus rising signs. If you would like to work one-on-one with me, I can be contacted at the email beingcosmicgirl101 at protonmail.com. Till next time, Taurus rising signs, you stay cosmic.